Welcome to Rising Goddess Radio. I'm your hostess, Michelle Torrance. I created Rising Goddess Radio to be a space where we dive deep into our spiritual, emotional, and physical bodies. We're getting real and connecting with ourselves in the most intimate ways. We'll be talking all things sacred sexual, relationship building, and womb healing. We'll be learning how to connect with our bodies through learning the language it speaks, how to use our sexual and sensual energies to create, manifest, and heal our lives. This show is about healing the chaotic feminine and toxic masculine within to create a world that responds to the divine and healthy energy you chose to tune in, tap in, and turn on. We will learn from amazing humans who take time and share their wisdom and sacred healing magic, rising humans who are here in this world to be healers, teachers, guides, priestesses, warriors, and shamans. All divine sisters and brothers in rising. We'll get witchy, sassy, sexy, and saucy. We're going to talk all things that align us with our true nature and authentic selves and create a community that expands with the ascension and growth of each of us. So grab some green juice, light some cannabis, get your blankets, or sit by the pool because we are about to rise up another level together. Catch you on the inside, dolls. Hello, my beautiful rising humans, and welcome to the first episode in our human lifestyle and sexuality series of Rising Goddess Radio, the relaunch. This is so exciting. This has been churning within me for a while, and I'm just super excited for all the expansion and the fun that is about to come pouring out of Rising Goddess Radio and into your worlds. So thank you for hanging with me throughout this transition and being supportive and there and part of Rising Goddess community and welcoming me back when it's time now. So today's episode is really excited. Let's go ahead and dive into this. Who am I talking to? Today's guest is Taara and James from Uninterrupted. Have you had a desire to explore non-monogamy? I made a post about this the other day before we did the recording because so many people live so many different lives, and it's exciting and interesting to see and connect with people who express themselves in so many different ways. So have you ever had a desire to explore non-monogamy? Are you repressing what you want sexually in order to fit into some sort of box? Do you feel like if you express yourself sexually, you'll be judged or shamed? Sex Uninterrupted with Taara and James brings sexuality and the swinger lifestyle to the forefront of the conversation, y'all. They are an amazing couple. They are fantastic energies and super knowledgeable and so warm and welcoming. They're an early 30s couple sharing their experiences and expertise of consensual non-monogamy, and they're doing it to help bring a fresh perspective to relationships, sex, and sexuality. Non-monogamy and the swinger lifestyle is so much more than you can even imagine. So open up your heart, open up your mind, and expand your imagination. When you do, you really true find desires and fantasies can come true. So really, this episode is a fantastic episode. This is actually part one of a two-part series. This first one is getting to know Taara and James and who they are, how they met, and just more information about the lifestyle and what they bring to the table as modern swinger lifestyle. So this is really a fantastic conversation. We talk about pretty much a wide range of topics. There's so much more I wanted to get into. You'll notice in the beginning I was a little nervous and shaky, and that happens when truth is about to be talked, at least truth in my eyes. So hunker down. It's winter time. find a spot by the fire, do whatever you're going to do, but enjoy this episode and head over to Rising Goddess Radio over on Facebook and leave your comments. Let's have a conversation. And again, if you are not part of Rising Goddess Radio, or excuse me, the Rising Goddess group over on Facebook, head over there and join us. We are having so much fantastic conversation. We get pretty deep in there. We really, no holds barred. There's no all uninhibited, free, authentic community and environment. So sit back, enjoy, and I'll catch you all on the inside. Later. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this next episode of Rising Goddess Radio. Today, you guys listen to the intro. We have an amazing guest and her beautiful partner here. And we have Taara, Rose, and James here with us. You guys, my voice sounds a little shaky. I think it's just a mixture of nerves. It's a mixture of the excitement of the new moon. It's a mixture of truth coming out. So as we get into the conversation, we'll start to flow better for me. But every question I ask my guest, Taara, first, welcome. Oh my God, y'all, I'm just like chopping this up in the beginning. Welcome so much. I ask all my guests one question in the very beginning. What do you love about being a human right now in this time and space?
Wow, you went deep real quick.
I like it that way.
Did you have like a knee-jerk reaction though?
Yeah, almost.
Mine was choice. The ability to have a choice.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's being in a relationship where I am free to talk about everything and anything.
I love that. Y'all, I was talking with them before we pressed record for this episode, and I was telling them how I've been following their relationship and the expression. I've been following Taara for a while on her social media, so we'll get to her social media so y'all can make sure you're following her too. But I was telling them before we started recording that the dynamics of their relationship is really just a beautiful thing that I love watching and watching it unfold and express, and other people get curious and ask questions with it. And I think that it's so important to talk to both divine feminine and healthy masculine regarding this particular topic, because there's so much toxicity that's running through it. There's so much shame that's running around sex, which is you and I both share teaching in that same field in different areas. And so I really just want to kind of get started and have everybody get to know a little bit about you. Who is Taara before? What kind of shifted in her life? And what brought her to the goddess we are watching and looking and talking to right now?
Taara before. Taara before was
bad.
Oh no, I think lots of anger too. There was a lot of anger, I think, in my late teens, in my early 20s, mainly because I wasn't living as my authentic self. I hadn't accepted who I was, and I felt like I had to fit into this box, and I was angry that I wasn't.
Yeah.
And I just felt like I was, turning my back on everything that I was. And I started to slowly learn that sexuality and that my sexuality may have been a little bit different and not what normal in quotation marks.
Right.
People discuss when they talk about sexuality, what you learn in school, all of that stuff. And I just started really falling into it and exploring it more. And that's roughly around the same time when James and me met. And then things kind of started to shift and change. And we realized we could be in a relationship that we were in. We had a choice of what we wanted. And we always had a choice. And being able to open up with each other, share with each other, and explore together really made me realize that made me realize that my sexuality was something that I didn't have to fit into a box with. Mainly.
You could honor your sexuality versus being shameful.
Yeah, absolutely. And I found my tribe along the way.
Do you feel that James helped you bring it out even more? Like, did you feel that he was a really strong and safe container for you to do that?
No. No, not at the beginning.
Well, the way we started was, in a sense, we were friends with benefits.
Okay.
So our
just sexual partners.
Okay.
Yeah.
that work together.
Work together. That's how we met.
Got really complicated fast.
So yeah. And I think that for me, I was always a very sexually open person.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that for Taara, it was probably one of the first times when we were talking just as friends with benefits that she was able to express these things. And like the same for me was not have somebody look at you and like, you know, that almost that guilt look or that shame look of like, how could you think of something like that? Right.
Yeah.
Like judgment. Yeah. And it was the first time I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah. We just could freely talk to each other and not feel ashamed for what we were thinking or what we were doing, because we're only friends with benefits. There was other people that we were seeing and sleeping with, and
we talked
about it.
So then it seems like there's no expectations. And I think that's something that a lot of people going into a relationship, or if they're in a relationship, a committed relationship now and looking into this lifestyle, I think that there's expectations that they have to work through. How did you guys have any moments of your relationship in the beginning, or as you were working and exploring all of this together, where you were coming up into more of attachment from fear and survival mode versus genuine love and detachment? Did you find yourself in experiences with, jealousy with each other, jealousy with other beings and other humans coming in and having fun? Or like, how did you guys start to communicate with that? Was it a struggle at first, or were you guys just down to just talk about it all the time?
I think that's kind of for me, it was how I wanted my next relationships to go. It's like how I wanted to be able to figure that out, because before I couldn't talk to my girlfriends about what I wanted. I couldn't talk to I had trouble talking to my friends about the things that I wanted to do and that I had done.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, I think it was we opened up very early, and that's kind of the reason why we were able to progress from the friends with benefits to the relationship, is because we talked about everything.
Yeah.
And jealousy is something that I know you're going to touch on, but it's one of those things that everybody's going to experience it. It's kind of how you learn to mediate almost where it comes from and find out where it comes from.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, for me, I felt there was a lot of emotions at first, because we went from being just friends with benefits and not really caring about each other's feelings that much to being in a relationship. And then I think I had to process everything. And so there was a lot of
soul searching almost. Yeah.
No, and heated battles that we had too, definitely. And that was a big point of me having to understand that he was going to be with me no matter what, and that he chose me, and that he was going to be that stability for me. And for a while I didn't trust it. So it took a while to trust that. Definitely. The first bit.
I really love that. And again, I feel like the communication, the experiences with each other and how you guys communicate, it really lines up with how my husband and I communicate. And like we were talking before, we had talked about this for many, many, many years. And it's always been something. I've been a very sexual being, but I've always been under shame. So recently I've been able to just really come to my acceptance of, being bisexual, being able to express it, being able to be in a relationship with somebody who wasn't casting me to hell. And I think that so many women who are in a monogamous relationship are having these feelings, and they're starting to feel that shame come through. And I know that you have a wonderful course that you have, your Spiritual Slut course.
Yeah.
And I wanted to talk a little bit about that and how your process of when you started to get into a relationship with him and having those feelings of more of attachment and stuff, how you were able to process that shame and transmute it into allowing and love and excitement and fun.
Yeah. You want to get into that right now?
Yeah, let's do
it. Well, with Spiritual Slut, really what it is a program that's designed to help you fall in love with yourself, understand yourself, and also have the tools provided to learn how to explore that on a deeper level. So I really focus it more on women who are bisexual, women who are interested in non-monogamy, and the very first session is self-love, because I think that that's so important. And when I created this course really what I sat down and thought of was, what did I have to go through in order to get to the point of where we are now? And I broke it down. I wrote it all down. Like, I have workbooks upon workbooks of notes and chicken scratch. And I really just fine-tuned it into a way of helping women explore themselves in a safe manner, in a more of a feminine, softer manner, without the shame, without the guilt, and deliver the message in a way that they're able to receive it and not feel like it's so structured and masculine. Because I find sometimes when you go to like psychologists or therapists, sometimes it is very masculine energy. And for women who are softer, very empathetic, like myself, it's hard to open up and it's hard to explore. And sometimes you want to know that it's okay when you start hearing stories and things from somebody who's actually been through it.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Have you always known about your sexual identity, or have you known and run from it, or has it just evolved into you becoming aware of it and taking action on that exploration? Does that make sense? I don't know if that question came out.
No, I think I get it. I've always been a sexual person, even like my early teens. I think I lost my virginity when I was 14.
Okay.
And sex was something that I enjoyed. I really liked it. And I'm a Gemini, so I'm very curious as well and like to explore a lot sexually. And the more that I started to do that into my like late teens, early 20s, the more I was slut shamed for that with the people around me, because I wasn't in a community that was so open and accepting and loving. And then when I started, excuse me, to find the lifestyle, the community, the tribe, is really when I could explore it more and without shame. It was just the community, really seeing that it was possible, seeing there's other people like that feel like me, really changed the shift and put it in a different gear for me.
Yeah, it sounds like the confidence really came up with the community, you know, and having that safety there. So for listeners out there who are curious about this, obviously, you know, definitely go and check out Taara's page, go check out her website and everything. But for people who are curious in their local areas, you know, what would you recommend for them? Would you recommend them going to like Facebook groups or researching different things to find community where they feel support if they don't feel the support from a partner, or not a partner, but their friends or family? You know, would you feel starting there, or do you think starting in local areas like meetups and socials, things like that, like you guys host?
It's a combination of both. I think that, well, now even with the local crackdown on Facebook, Tumblr, and all those places, you're starting to get away from being able to have places where there are people that are like you. And I was just talking to a buddy the other day, and it's so funny how when you get to a point, people are always looking to find people and a community where they feel like they belong.
Yeah.
And for the longest time, we went through our like lives and found our way. But I think the best way to get out there is to get out there, is just to go meet people, because you realize that they're just like people, just like you and me, right? They're just regular people. Not everybody is a, you know, I don't know, like a beautiful person. Not everybody. Yeah. Not sure. I don't want to say 10, but you know what I mean? It's like, not everybody's gorgeous, and everybody's
perfectly imperfect.
Yes.
And everybody has their own thing. And I think that getting out there and meeting these people, it kind of takes away that stigma of like, okay, well, everybody who's doing this is a specific way of a person. And it's like when you get out there, you're like, oh, everybody's very similar. It's just now we have a collective way of thinking that kind of goes down a path where there's less judgment. I'm not going to say there's no judgment, but there's less judgment. And I think it's more of an open space for people to be able to express their inner desires and wants, and sexual desires and wants.
Yeah. Well, and that leads to a great topic, which I know a lot of women fall into this particular route: insecurity on their bodies, and that they feel that they have to be this perfect 10, perform in a certain way and be a certain way. And they have this fear based off of certain conditions or what's fed to them about this particular lifestyle or whatever fear is fed to them. So by you touching on that, I think it's really important for everybody out there to listen and to pay attention that not everybody is a 10. My husband said this just the other day. He's like, not everybody is this, gorgeous, diamond, dramatic, perfect being with, perfection all over. He's like, that's not what it is. And so I think just like your course is, with the first session is all about self-love. It's really accepting, becoming aware of what it is that's inside of you that you want, and then accepting that, and then allowing yourself to express it through and find a safe community for it. So I love that you guys offer that community. I love that you offer that space. I love that you offer that energy for people to be able to explore that.
We have fun doing it.
Yeah, like I said, I've been following, I've read some of your stories on blogs on your website. I've been just I've been having fun just following you guys and watching everything go and watching the exploration. And I think that the more that the feminine is healing, the more that the shame is starting to be removed, the more that people are realizing that people aren't turning bisexual or gay or turning into this particular thing. People have always been this way, and now we're allowed to express it. And so I think that what you guys are doing is fantastic. And Taara, I think that your confidence and expression, and we've touched a little bit on the witch wound about this. I touch about this in what I teach. And that is about like the jealousy within women and how we compare with each other, and that we feel that we have to compete with each other. And instead of realizing that there's actually a lot more fun and adventure connecting and collaborating with each other in all of this. And I teach orgasmic manifestation. So this goes in a lot with what it is that we do. And so that brings to another topic that I love for you guys to talk about. Some questions that I've had from my community is, when you're connecting with somebody sexually, there's a lot of energy that's being connected. There's all of that happening. So when you are having an experience and you're out having fun, do you have a fear of that? Do you think about that? Do you have a ritual? Do you have something that you do to cleanse your energy prior and after? And is that
funny you ask, because when we first started out in the lifestyle, I hadn't really discovered my spirituality then. I was still very lost. I think I was just starting to get into meditating at that point.
Okay.
No yoga, no crystals. Like this is like another lifetime now.
Yeah.
And when we first started meeting people, we would just meet random people and have sex with them. And then as we started to progress and evolve and grow individually as well as in our relationship, it didn't feel as good as it used to. And like I used to do one night stands like when I was single and everything. So it was really weird that I was starting to feel that way. And then we finally started to make some friends in the lifestyle, really find the tribe. And that's when we started to really have good connections with people and intimate moments. And we were also not feeling gross the next day, like not feeling that get this energy off me kind of thing. I am big with smudging. We usually smudge before we go out somewhere. And I usually try to do it the next day to just clear that energy. The energy. I carry crystals everywhere with me. I always put like crystal bracelets on, whatever ones speak to me that I need for protection or for help communicating sometimes during Mercury retrograde.
Right.
She carries them around in her bra.
Yeah. Well, I'm just going to throw this plug in. I have friends actually that just launched a line. I think you know them, Spiritually Intimate, but they create bralettes specifically to hold crystals.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
No,
I will tag you. Yeah. I'm friends with the creators. So I think you'll absolutely love them. And they just had their pre-launch. So it's their first one. So you're gonna love them, and they have like specific intentions too, and ones come with crystals, and so they're just at the beginning, but they're working on workout gear and all sorts of stuff. So I think you'll totally love them. I know, right? Well,
because every time she takes it off, it goes clunk, clunk. Oh, there they are.
I love it. I love it. There's so many women in the world that carry them. That's why this is like an amazing product. So I'll definitely tag you on that so that way you can check it out. But I wrote down erotic blueprints. Sometimes I channel notes and before I talk with people. And are you guys familiar with your erotic blueprint?
Hell yeah.
Okay. We had Kat on the show a while ago. And are you familiar with Kat Tramarco? Okay. She does a lot about erotic blueprints. So that's where I first got familiar with it. So I'd love for you to share a little bit about your knowledge on that and how you utilize that as a tool for you to have an awesome relationship for yourself, with yourself and with everyone else.
I think that everybody in the lifestyle should know about it because it's a very powerful tool to know how you're wired sexually and also the people that you're around. Mm-hmm. So I found out I'm a shapeshifter, which makes a ton of sense because I have so much trouble focusing on what I want. I usually can shapeshift into what other people want quite easily. Mm-hmm. Being empathic and highly intuitive, it's definitely something that I had to come to terms with, and I didn't even know that I was doing that. And James is sexual blueprint.
I'm sexual.
So we really hit it off at first, and I'll
tell my story. My interpretation of the blueprints was when we went to a tantric course and we first heard about the tantric blueprints. We sat down, did the test, did the whole thing, and I found out, like I pretty much knew, that I was sexual. I've always been a very sexual being, and almost like for me, if you talk about like the 5 love languages, I'm a 6th one, which is sex.
Okay.
So I feel love through very sexual activity. I've always been that way. I don't know what it is. But when I found out that Taara was a shapeshifter, it was the first time I finally realized why when we first started having sex for like the first 3 years, I think it was 3.5 years, we had sex all the time. And it was like sex, sex, sex all the time. Because that's how I felt love. But that's how I assumed that she felt love, because if this is how I feel it, why doesn't she feel it?
Right.
And then I got to the blueprints and I went, oh.
There's other ones?
There's other ones. So I refer to them now as cups.
Okay.
So there's the energetic cup, the sexual cup, the kinky cup. Sorry. Sexual, sensual, energetic, and kinky cups. Okay. And then the shapeshifters at the end. But the shapeshifter is like a big cup.
Right.
Anyways, so we got 4 cups. I have been filling up that sexual cup for her for like 3 years, and she has gotten plenty. Let me tell you. And right, but that's my cup is the big cup is just sexual. So I could always put more in there, but for her, I filled up her small little cup of sexual so much that I had left out all these little other, like we had incorporated some kinky and some sensual, no energetic, because I don't understand it because I'm a more literal person when this is touching you with my hand on her and not touching you.
Right.
Right. But it was first time for me that I realized that I was filling up one cup and I was leaving all these other cups empty, which then would be like, well, I'm sexed out. So then after about 3.5 years, we stopped having sex almost like every day, and it started
twice a day.
And, it started to dissipate. But from there, it was my realization, like, oh, if I can get the sexual, as long as I fill up all these other cups and make sure that they're all nice and level, and I kind of fill them up, because her being a shapeshifter is like, well, she can transverse into all of them, but for me, she would just come to my sexual side, and it was just like, it was great for 3.5 years, and then it started falling off, but then it was the realization for me to like, okay, I got to fill that sensual side, I got to fill that kinky side, I got to fill that energetic side of her.
But also being in a lifestyle, it's an easy way for me to get those cups filled from other men or women. So I don't know.
I love that. No, I think that's a great explanation. And well, it just really drives home the communication, and looking and speaking to somebody and speaking to your partner and trusting them and talking to them about how they would respond, how they would receive what it is that you're talking to them about. This brings up another question, actually, Taara, when you said, other women or other men. I've had people ask me questions that they've done it before with someone. They've been in non-monogamous relationship. They've experienced it, but it was more one-sided, where the man was, she could only be with a woman. She couldn't be with another man.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is where I find, obviously, a lot of the toxicity running through. And that's the, control and the power of that toxicity. So when there is another male coming in, is there any sort of discord or disconnection from you, James? And then if there's another female coming in, is there any sort of disconnection or discord with you, Taara? Or do you find that you have an energetic connection or a chemistry with somebody else that you have fun with? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
There's quite a few in there.
Well, I think it starts out with the whole communication thing, right?
Yeah.
We always talk about, if something were to happen in this form, we're maintaining that we do everything together. This is who we are. And we're maintaining that our relationship is the primary sort of, I guess, entity that needs to be honored. Yeah. So if somebody's coming into that, we try to communicate with them that they understand that our relationship is primary. We're not going to be leaving each other for anybody unless
dating outside.
Or dating outside of it. So if we do have an add-in there, we try to make them understand that our relationship is the primary, and you are kind of like just adding a little bonus.
Right. Okay. And then, go ahead.
With adding a third, whether it be a female or male, we're very selective with who we allow into the bedroom in that intimacy. And because of it, I know bringing other women into the bedroom and just having 3 of us has been a very beautiful experience. Jealous in that moment, seeing him with another man, or another woman. Sorry. I think it's so sexy, and I'm like, wow, like it's so hot that other women want. That's a turn on for me. It makes me feel proud and makes me feel.
And vice versa for me too.
Yeah.
We
just had a really hot male.
We just had
male threesome.
We had what I like to call a
Mfs are really fun. Those are kind of that's usually the one, or the fums are the ones that I go to on Pornhub when I'm going to have a little fun. So
me too.
Who doesn't?
I know, right? Well, there's quite a few people out there who don't, but that's what we're trying to change right now. We're trying to wake people up through sex. That's the goal. I had just a couple more questions here. Somebody did ask me in my group, they were wanting to know your explanation and definition, or the difference between a consensual non-monogamous relationship and polyamory. And where you guys find, obviously you guys just explained your relationship is the base first and foremost. That's like my husband and I talk about, our relationship is home. That's what it is. And then we just get to party or whatever, and allow and all that stuff. So,
can I just stop you right there real quick?
Yeah.
I would say don't use the word allow. Allow is like saying, and I have a personal problem with it, and it's not. I'm not saying that what you're saying is wrong.
Sure.
Because it is an allowance in a sense, but it's more of like I'm not necessarily even saying condoning. It's like we're having like a consensual conversation about like both of us agreeing on something.
Yeah.
Right. It's
agreement.
It's not like I'm allowing her to do something.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
This is the question.
He doesn't own me.
And the reason why I say that is because I used to get guys that, like my muggle friends, what I call vanilla friends, when they would come to me and they would ask me about my weekend. And I would sometimes divulge a little bit, and they were like, "Oh, that's so awesome. Well, what was she doing?" And I was like, "Oh, she was with so-and-so," or she was with somebody or whatever. And they would go, "Wait, how do you allow her to do that? And I would go, how do I allow her to do anything?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not here to own somebody. And that's something that I try to get people to get that idea almost out of their head, is like, we're not owning somebody. You are entering into, even if it's monogamous, you're entering a consensual monogamous relationship or non-monogamous relationship where two people should be agreeing. And I always like to say, I dislike the word happy wife, happy life.
Oh my God. Thank you.
I like to say happy spouse, happy house.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Because we together, as I said, like the home, like you said, is the kind of we're both here to talk about our things, and then we can come to an understanding, or we can agree or disagree, and we can communicate about those things. But I just dislike the word allow. So.
No, I love that. No, I think that's a great explanation. And that really helps clear up a lot of different things, because that word can bring on a different energy and a different tone specifically in this particular topic. So I thank you. I think that's fantastic. And I totally agree with that. So let's see here. I have all these beautiful notes. I have some fun questions that I want to talk about at the end. But I wanted, I know fun questions are always fun. They're little like quirky, dorky questions, because that's who I am. You know, I think where so many people are, I think a lot of people are just afraid. I think that there's so many more people who are wanting to explore the lifestyle like you guys are, in the way that you guys are doing it, in that base relationship, right? That honoring based relationship, consensual relationship, where you both are independent. There's not a codependent connection that's running through. And I think that's really important. If people are in currently in a monogamous relationship, and that they're wanting to explore, talk about it, they have to remove the codependency that happens in it. Do you find any other, I know you said you're very particular and you're very selective on who it is that you talk to, and you make great friends and everything in the community. Before you started shifting into that place, did you find that maybe other people were still in that codependent route, where they would have an experience with you and they would try and, I guess, I don't know what the word is I'm looking for. I guess try to push your boundaries, the boundaries that you guys have set, the boundaries that you said of, this is who we are, this is what we've set, and this is what's going to happen. So do you have people, and how do you handle the situation or the experience if somebody starts to press a boundary that you guys have set fully?
Well, I think it kind of goes to one thing that I will say, is that there is no right way to be in a consensual non-monogamous relationship, and there's no wrong way to be in a consensual non-monogamous relationship. There are different ways of being, and we like to say that everybody's reason for being in this lifestyle is completely valid. If you want to go out and just have sex or fuck whoever you want. Sorry, I don't know if I can swear.
You can totally fucking curse on this. I don't give a shit.
Okay, perfect. So if people
we're
want to
open
go out
here. It's okay.
I just, like, for me, it's like, there are people that go out there and just fuck, and there are people that go out there and have meaningless sex, and then there are people that go out there and just watch and make friends, and then there's people who like
to get watched.
Yeah, and just like to get watched, and there's people that like us that are looking for meaningful sex, because we've had, and I think it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, is meaningful sex versus meaningless sex. We've all had a bunch of meaningless sex. Why can't we have more meaningful sex where it actually gives you something than just having sex?
Okay, so what if somebody pushes the boundary?
And if somebody pushes the boundaries, we always like to say, we always have a way out by just either giving our safe word, double squeezing on the side of the arm.
Double squeezing.
The double squeeze is a big one.
It's like, let's go.
And I think even almost communicating your rules and boundaries first before entering into these sort of things kind of clears up a bunch of things that, if you're in the middle of having sex with somebody and you got to ask them a question, it can kind of take it away. If we start playing with somebody in the beginning, yes, I'm always asking questions, because I'm always trying to figure that out, because not many people are willing to come out and say, these are our rules, these are our boundaries. But I think a more clear, I guess, dialogue towards that concept will also help people along the way and prevent you from getting into a spot where somebody might push those.
And I think I've experienced it probably more than you.
Yes.
With boundaries being pushed.
Yeah.
Just being a woman in general,
Sure.
I do find the community, the clubs, to be way more well-versed in consent. And absolutely, I rarely get touched or groped or anything as compared to being in, a normal bar or a festival even.
Yeah.
Because my butt always used to get squeezed when I was at the bar, and that drove me wild. But there are times where somebody's come up and grabbed my breasts or grabbed my ass, and I've just stood up for myself, and I really had to lay to rest any trauma that I used to have around the word saying the word no.
That's so
really
good.
Owning my no as well. That was a huge thing for me in the lifestyle. That was something I struggled with for a long time. And the fact that we have our rules and boundaries keeps me aligned with my truth that I set then.
Yeah.
And those things can evolve. They can change. We've had tons of rules and boundaries that have changed. But saying that and communicating it, almost saying it out loud, helps you communicate that and say it with authority and not feel shame around saying it either, or bad.
Yeah. Well, and I feel too that with having both your guys' solid foundation, you have that solid ground to stand up and stand up for yourself and say that and feel that. And I think we were on before I kind of got distracted on the difference between non-monogamy and polyamory. So let's touch into that. How do you describe the difference of that so people can understand that?
Well, with consensual non-monogamy it kind of includes everything. So it includes polyamory too.
Okay.
Includes swinging, polygamy,
hot wifing,
cuckolding, any sort of kinks where you're playing with somebody else, because even though there may be no penetration, it's still some form of consensual non-monogamy. We like to say that this is a big thing.
Okay. And polyamory is more of like, I'd say a more defined version of what consensual non-monogamy is. And it's just they love so many people and they have so much love to give that they fall in love with multiple people, and everybody who is involved is in agreement and is enjoying the connection.
Yeah, I think polyamory is more towards relationships with multiple people.
Yeah.
Where consensual non-monogamy can be,
it can be that, or just what we do.
That, or it could be just like, the term swinging. We don't like to use it, but sorry, our cat.
That's okay. So you said you don't like to use the term swinging?
Because a lot of people associate that word with an older style of keys parties and going home and having random sex with whoever you got chosen that night.
Yeah.
Right.
The problem is with that terminology, like that whole thing, it goes to the whole, what I call the fundamental flaw of the swinging lifestyle or the lifestyle and consensual non-monogamy. That's all about sex.
Yeah.
When we're trying to get to a point where it's a lot more than that. We're developing friendships for the rest of our lives.
And evolving ourselves.
Yeah.
Up-leveling our relationship. And actually, I get a lot of messages from men, especially on Instagram, who are older, who are divorced from their wife that they used to swing with. And they say that they wish they knew they could have done swinging the way that we did it. Because what ended up happening was their relationships ended because they weren't participating the way they wanted to. And they were pushing those boundaries, and they weren't saying no, and
maybe using it as some form of bypassing for so many things, because sex can be used in such a form as a form of bypassing in so many ways. And the term swinger reminds me like old, like, shag carpets, and you are, walking through, and it's not really it doesn't seem like it's something that is healthy.
Well, don't get me wrong, it's still out there.
Sure.
Like, there are people that are just doing
sure.
That are having parties like this. It's not like, it's not like there isn't that out there, but it's just that
there's everything out
again,
there.
it's the stigma of the word.
Yeah.
like even on our local our local news station, the participation
Word of the day.
exercise of the day, and he said it was swinging.
Like
going on a swing, like swinging back and forth.
Yeah.
And he starts laughing. He's like, the old fishbowl party, I can't say that. And we're sitting there like, it's really funny because he referred to swinging on a news station, which was really funny. But at the same time, it's still like, again, as soon as he said, well, it's like the Keys parties. It's like, we're
that's
going,
what everyone thinks.
Everybody assumes it.
Yeah. And then, and that's where then that ideal comes in, and then that expectations, and then it's like all of this. Yeah. So I love that. I think that getting the word out there, and I think the fact that it's an umbrella, that it covers everything. I'm sorry, a hummingbird just came up and flew right next to me here out my window. Hello.
Special.
I know, I'm loving it. But I love that it incorporates all of it, and that there's so many different levels, so many different experiences, things to explore, which is really what we're here to do in life. And I think going into this, realizing, like you said, Taara, you love having choice. And, James, you said freedom, basically. And so by you guys going together, by you guys having this solid foundation and this experience that you're creating together, this world that you're creating, you're having the choice of freedom every single day in your world, and having that shame gone, having that expectations gone, having the confidence to live your authentic truth is really inspiring. And I really can't wait for the more expansion of you. I really feel that even though we've been in a sexual revolution since the 60s, and we're burning the bras and we're doing all that shit, right? I really feel like we are in the heart of some serious sexual revolution, not only energetically, but physically and connecting. Women are really starting to become aware. I think it's really the women that are going to shift into this dynamic here, because they're getting rid of that shame, because they're allowing themselves to stand up and live authentically and speak authentically. And I think that with the healthy masculine that supports that divine feminine, it's just going to explode, and there's going to be so much ascension happening in so many different ways, and people orgasmically manifesting all over the world with all these other amazing humans who are experiencing this world. So
I believe that too. I do think the women are taking the lead, and that's why I created a women's course first. I didn't know if I should do a men's one, a couples one, or a women's one. And it's because women are the ones asking me, I want to get my husband in this. How do I do this? And I'm like, well, I can't just type this over Instagram messages. So
Right. This is kind of a little bit more details on doing that.
Yeah.
Well, and I always like to say the one thing about the lifestyle that it really does do is it does build up women to be able to be their authentic sexual self, because they have been repressed for so long. And I think that when you get really down to it, the community, even in itself, you find yourself being able to go out wearing probably the sluttiest thing you have in your closet, and being told that you look beautiful instead of being called a slut or being called and shamed, and other women being able to express this, and all different types of women from every different background, from anything, but they also are able to express themselves how they want. If they want to cover up and be covered up, but yet still be in the sexual environment, they can do that too. But they've all found a way to kind of, I like to say, it's like women are the ones in our community are the ones that stir the drink. So they're the ones that really drive most of this. For
big time.
Yeah. Well, for having the comfortness for women to really explore. I mean, this is what I work with my clients. For them to really explore their sexuality and be comfortable, they need to feel safe. They need to feel comfort and connection, and the energy that you put out by being so open and honest and authentic with yourself. You are really attracting other women who are desiring that plus.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's really a beautiful thing. It's really a beautiful thing. And I love, you guys are only in your early to mid 30s, right?
We're both 31.
You're both 31. Okay. All right. So that's fantastic. And what I love is I'm 39, so I'm almost a decade older. I know, right?
You did not look 39. I wouldn't have guessed that.
Well, thank you. But what I love is that as younger, right? I don't want to say younger because I feel like the generations that are coming through are definitely older. They're definitely more wise. They're definitely more open. They're definitely more accepting. They're definitely way more aligned with authenticity and truth. My daughter's, she's been truth and authentic with me since she was 13 years old, so it's really a great thing. So seeing the you two at this age is really supporting the next generation of just coming in and having the space already there for authenticity. So it's really, I really do love you guys a lot. And I think the world is so excited, and the collective is really in need of the energy, especially to clear out this toxicity, right?
Yeah.
So I'm really excited for you guys. I'm really excited for everyone who's going to work with you. And now I have just a couple little fun questions, nothing too serious, just little dorky questions. So first and foremost, I already know your sign, but James, what's your sign?
Aries. I'm a fire. I'm a ram.
I was going to say a fire. My husband is Sagittarius, so.
I'm going to ram you.
Yeah, definitely fire. What was the last, or what currently are you either reading or listening to that's either like a conscious awareness text or spiritual text or mindset text or book or whatever?
I think one of my favorite books, and I keep going back to it. Oh my God. Well, actually right now I'm reading a Tony Robbins book, which is pretty interesting because it's all about choice, and that's what he is all about.
Yeah.
And this book is, I don't remember the name of it. It's been sitting on my desk. I never remember book titles. I remember what they're about.
Mm-hmm.
I forget the book title. And then the other one I like is A New Earth.
Okay.
Eckhart Tolle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are great. What about you, James? Nothing? That's okay. You know what? It's funny.
I am an audio visual learner.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
He likes Joe Rogan podcast.
Yeah.
Well, I like Joe Rogan. I like a lot of different podcasts. I love to listen to like our community, because when we went down to an event down in the States, we met a bunch of the podcasters, and it was the first time that we had actually been out in the community in itself. And I like listening to some of their shows because it's interesting to get a different perspective. Everybody has a different way of being in this lifestyle. There's no one way of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said before, there's no right way or wrong way. Everybody's doing it a different way. Some people are just so about like making dates and getting it in and having sex and banging, and there's some people that are
like podcasts about that.
There's sexy. So many. And I think it's great to see that there are so many people that are trying to change the perception of how this lifestyle is, and also trying to help people and understand that my favorite line is everybody can be in a consensual non-monogamous relationship. It's not for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, I fully agree. The opportunity is there, and the choice is there, right? And that's what's so great about being human and coming and choosing to come into this world. We get the choice of free will, and whatever we do with that, as long as we're confident in it and we're removing any sort of shame or toxicity or anything that keeps us down, that doesn't allow us to stand in our authentic truth of that. Even if it's monogamy and you have one partner and you don't want to have any sort of other sexual relationship or anything like that with anybody, stand truth and authentic in that, Yeah. And that's what's so great too about this is that it feels like the community is a welcoming and open community where if you're new, you're not going to feel judged or anything.
In most spaces.
Because there's humans in every space, and humans can still judge if they're not working through their own shit, right?
Yeah.
Well, there's some people that no matter what you do, there's some people that are in it for malicious intent. And there's some people that are in it for the right reasons, and there's some people that are in it for whatever reason. Again, it's just an interesting group of people, but we like to say that everybody is open-minded to understanding and developing this sort of community.
Well, I think that's fantastic. So if y'all are listening to that out there, if you're looking for a community that's open-minded to be open, then that's kind of where your jam is, you know?
You got it.
Shit. What was the last thing y'all searched on Google?
I
got it.
Oh, crystal meanings.
Oh. What about you?
Mine was men are responsible for 100% of unplanned pregnancies.
Oh, that article. Yeah.
So there's an article that's out there, and I kind of got a debate with a girl in my muggle world about how men are responsible for 100% of unwanted pregnancies. And the reason why is because a woman is only fertile about 2 days a year. And this was all in this article, and I'll have to send it to you, but it's
tangent time.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Well, okay. So women are potentially pregnant for like 2 days out of the month.
Could potentially get pregnant.
Right.
Could potentially get pregnant.
Right.
Right.
Day of ovulation and 2 days after. Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
So about 2 days out of a month. So roughly 24 days of the year a woman is fertile. How many days do you think a man is fertile? 365.
Right.
More than once.
Yeah.
And potentially more than once a day.
Because we can't get pregnant twice.
And not even that. To a point where men are fertile from probably about 12, 13 till they die.
Mm-hmm.
Where women's reproductive systems. So if you look at just the numbers of statistics, the problem is that the reason why I say it's 100% reason, well, this article says, is that it's 100% men's fault for unwanted pregnancies is because it is our responsibility to put our semen in the right fucking place.
Like a condom
or
on her tits, whatever. It doesn't really matter.
Wherever. Yeah. But the fact of the matter is that if we put it inside a woman and she chooses to have it, well, it's still an unplanned pregnancy. It's our fault because we didn't choose to put our semen somewhere where it probably wasn't supposed to go.
I love that conversation. I love that. I can't wait to read it. And that's fantastic.
There's this Mormon woman with like 6 kids, and she's like, I don't want men to tell me like about like, you know, fertility and women's rights about abortions and this stuff.
That's who wrote it.
But she just said, it's like, well, it's men's fault. Like it can't be women.
She's like, I'm gonna break this down for you.
Yeah, and she broke it down to a point where I'm like,
yeah,
oh my
I agree.
God.
Wow.
It's so true.
Wow.
God, I've been jerking off into socks my whole life.
In the shower.
Or the shower, down the drain. See you later. Gone.
All right. I love that. I'm actually going to check out that article. So definitely I'll research that. But you know what I love about this? Okay. I'm just going to pause here for a second. It's so great. I've been telling my husband lately, just having conversation with healthy masculine humans, is so nice. Because Taara, I'm sure you get lots of dick pics coming through. I'm sure you get,
I like to respond to them though.
Yeah. Send it back with one of yours, right?
No,
I'm just kidding.
No. That goes into another point, and I don't want to go on another tangent.
No, let's do it. Let's go ahead.
There are groups out there that they'll say like, hey, I got a Tushy Tuesday pic or a Wet Wednesday.
I was gonna say when you went on.
Oh yeah, and the fact that so we've divulged into a few different aspects of sexuality, and I'm very curious about different forms of sexuality. Mm-hmm. So we decided, I thought it would be an interesting idea. I'm not bisexual. I call myself hetero-flexible, mm-hmm. but we decided to go on Grindr to potentially play with a trans woman.
Okay.
And so I got on Grindr, and I was like, I literally looked at Taara and I was
I felt like.
I was like, wait a second, is this what it's like?
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, I have got no less than 5 dick pics in my goddamn inbox.
He's like, and one of a butthole.
And an asshole. And I'm like, I am.
It's like they don't even talk to me. They just send a pic.
They just say hi and dick.
Yeah.
What I get.
And I'm like, really? Is that what you guys have been dealing with your whole lives? And it kind of sucks because I get it and I understand it. I was never one to like originally send a dick pic.
Yeah.
Unless it was asked and that's what you wanted, I would consensually give you that.
Right.
But man, oh man, I was like, I kind of felt weird about it. It's like, I'm not. Like,
you
I'm
didn't
not
realize.
opposed to
I guess
looking at
guys
a dick.
just don't know what it's like to be a woman.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, and I think what's happening right now is that a lot of them are waking up to it. A lot of them are starting to see it. A lot of them are starting to be like, oh shit, like what the fuck? This is what's been fucking happening. Holy shit. And it's like, I've had to block, all sorts
Seriously?
of
Me too.
Get a bunch of single guys or even guys in relationships. Put them on Grindr. Put one picture out there and just see what happens.
Oh my God.
And it's not like I'm saying that the gay community is wrong, but it's just there is some weird thing with men of just sending a dick pic. And I get it. It's the whole joke. It's almost like a joke now. Like at a certain point in this day and age, it's almost like a joke.
Yeah, but when are you going to stop telling the joke? Like the joke stopped being funny like 12 years ago, like.
I just instantly block.
It was like that one where it's like, you're swiping.
If I get a dick pic, I just instantly block.
Yeah. Well, and I think that it's important too for those of you who are still listening, that just because you're in the lifestyle doesn't mean that you accept and receive everything. And
yes,
that's where your boundaries come up. And that's where having your self-love, that's where understanding and relationship with your body, understanding how to communicate with yourself comes in. Because if you can't communicate with yourself, you can't communicate with your partner. Y'all two can't communicate together to the other people that you're wanting to whatever experience, whatever level and whatever lifestyle you want to have. So I love that. Thank you for your rants. I fucking love rants.
He's good at them.
I sometimes go off. But.
No, I think it's great. I think it's important though, because people need to fucking sometimes you need to hear some shit, look, stop doing that. No more dick pics.
Well, please. And even to a point, even just in this lifestyle, the first word that we like to say is consensual.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Dick pic to me or to her.
Did I ask for that?
Did I ask for that? Did I consent to saying that I wanted to see that?
Right.
And it's I get it because there's no next to no ramifications online other than just being blocked from your account.
You can't report somebody who sends you a dick pic. It's blocked.
So I get it. I understand it. It's not right because again, I like to say it's consensual. We want to be consensual. We want to be asking for things and being able to understand that if somebody's like, "Would you like to see a dick pic?" and I say no, don't send it.
People have asked me. And I have said no.
But they've asked and you've said no. And they've...
At least it's a start.
They don't get blocked.
Right. They don't get blocked. And that's just it. That just goes down to simple things. Even just with people, if I'm doing a tarot reading live on Facebook or something, and people will come on just be like, pull me a card. I won't pull a card until you say, can I please have a card? You know what I'm saying? You don't just throw shit at people. You respect. You have an appreciation, Yeah. So, all right, we'll wrap this up because I know you guys have so many awesome things to do in your life. And, but I have one final question. Music is basically my soul and what I vibrate with. So, what piece of music or song describes your being right now?
I got one song.
Which one is it?
DJ's Gotta Dance.
Oh my God, I knew. I saw it in my head.
There's this one song
I knew.
by A. Go listen to it. It's called DJ's Gotta Dance. And it's such an old school, vibey, and it's like a DJ is supposed to get out there and dance with your people.
Okay.
And it's why? Because good old house music. Sorry, I'm just quoting lines from it now.
I don't know what mine is.
We do a sex tune Thursday.
Oh, okay.
So we do a sex tune Thursday that kind of and this
on our Facebook, Twitter,
and YouTube.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's on YouTube now.
Yeah, the playlist.
So we have a playlist on YouTube if you want to go check it out under Sex Uninterrupted called Sex Tune Thursday. Mm-hmm. And I think there's about 98 or 96 songs in there of just kind of nice, vibey, sort of good music to get down to.
I can't wait because I usually listen to a lot of like chill lounge house, and I got my Enigma that I listen to. I usually turn on Enigma in my Empress phase. So, but I love that. So let's talk about where people can find you. Where can they reach you? Where can they talk with you? How can they connect with you so they can really start to explore their authenticity, whatever that may be for them?
Well, we always direct people to our website, so sexuninterrupted.com. There, we have all the links of everything else that we do, which is Instagram. We do Instagram stories all day.
Sex.uninterrupted.
That's our Instagram. And Twitter is SXUninterrupted, and those are kind of like the three hubs. Facebook, you've seen me.
We have a Facebook
there.
Live page.
Yeah, we have the Facebook Live page. I have a profile, Taara Rose, but I'm very selective with who I add to my friends list. So if you want to be a friend, make sure to send me a note along the way so I know. And
yeah, you can subscribe to our newsletter on our website and everything. Also, our email is sex.uninterrupted@gmail.com.
And listen to our weekly radio show, which is, you can find the links all on our website.
Yeah. So our radio show is on the Sexy Lifestyle Network, and it goes live every Monday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Sexy Lifestyle Network, which is powered by Voice America. Yeah, we were really happy about that one.
That's exciting.
And as well, if you want to yes, it really is. And if you want to directly support us, you can find us on patreon.com/sexuninterrupted. And that's where we share some of our behind the scenes footage of like if we were
photos or a sexy weekend. Every Monday I usually write out what we did for the weekend, even if it wasn't sex, like if we didn't meet up with anyone, just so that people have a glimpse of what it's like in the lifestyle for us. So if there was a sexy weekend, it is pretty sexy. Yeah, it's erotic.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's erotic writing.
Erotic text.
But yeah, we're on like probably the 9th week of doing that, and it seems to be really popular.
That's fantastic. I love it. Well, again, I'm really excited. Excited is like my word of the millennium, but I really am excited to see the expansion and everything, and watch you grow and watch so many other humans really rise up from working with you and being able to connect to their truth. So thank you so much for taking your time to hang out with me and talk with me and talk about the lifestyle and answer questions and just kind of get your needed energy out there because it really is needed. And I'm excited. Shit, that's what I do.
Well, thank you.
And yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much.
I've been following you for a while too, so I get nerves as well. I'm a human being. I poop like everybody else. So.
I know, right? I'm like, just keep the bud nearby. I got all my crystals. I got everything here. And I'm like, they're cool, you know, and I think that's just what it is. And so many people out there, when you go to do something truth and stand up in your truth and talk about your truth and live your truth, you can feel the nerves. And what I love to refer back to is fear and excitement are the same vibration. It's just your perspective. And so if you can turn it around and get excited for what's going to happen, whatever happens, then, you know, you're going to live a great life. So thank you. I'm going to go ahead. Oh my God, I keep interrupting y'all. I'm all cheesy and giggly. So, all right, everybody, if y'all, thank you for listening out there, and I will catch y'all on the next episode later.